Good morning everybody, it's Graham from Unearthed and this is the next episode of Metal Detecting Talk, where we bring you once a week discussions around detecting or detecting related subjects. Now this one is an interesting one in so much as a few months ago I did a very short film on here on our YouTube channel talking about protecting your metal detectors and not leaving them in boots of cars, vans, vehicles of any description overnight, because at the time we talked about people getting their stolen out of cars and these thieves that go around at night checking on car doors, boots, etc, etc, and the stealing of metal detectors seems to be on the increase. And I have to say, unfortunately folks, it's still happening. I mean, not many people watch these YouTube videos that I do anyway. We've got, what, 1,300 subscribers, so it isn't going out to a huge audience to get the message across to say, please do not, under any circumstances, leave your detector in the boot of the car overnight, because you're just running that risk. And unfortunately it's happened again this week where three detectors from different parts of the country have been stolen out of boots of cars and vans. On one hand, you're going to look and you say it's carelessness and it is a lack of protecting your your hard-earned cash, because detectors cost a lot of money. And on the other hand, you think, well, you're getting home from detecting late, you're tired, you leave all your gear in the car with the thought process of going back out later on and getting it all out once you've had a bath or a shower and you've had your tea, and of course it slips your mind, and then of course you wake up next day and you find the car has been broken into and all your detecting gear has gone. Now what was interesting about this particular theft, or a couple of the particular thefts that have been going on this week, is within 12 hours these detectors were put on sale on eBay. And of course, one detector or two detectors that were stolen here in the Furness area in South Cumbria, they ended up on eBay in Wolverhampton within 12 hours. Now, whether that's just a fake address and saying it's from the Wolverhampton area, who knows? But it just shows you the minds of these thieves. They probably don't know what they're thieving. They know it's a metal detector, but they don't know how it works. But very, very quickly they switch on to how much they're worth and information readily on Google and other places, and within that 12-hour slot these detectors were then put on eBay and sold. That's how quick it can happen. So the key is to save your serial number. Every detector you buy, make sure you jot down the serial number of that particular machine. The serial number's on just about every machine now, so just take 5 minutes, jot it down on a piece of paper, take a picture of it so the image is on your phone. Happy days. You may get the detector back once it's stolen because of the serial number, if you can prove it was once yours and stolen, etc, etc. Then there's a chance, an outside chance or whatever, of getting that detector back. But please, guys, come on, it's easily done, and I'm not criticizing anybody in particular for doing it, but just whatever you do, just protect your investment and just take them out of the car and put them safe, because it's heartbreaking to think that you're spending all that money on metal detectors, you're working hard for that money, and you want to go detecting because you love the hobby, and you go out next morning to find the car has been broken into and they've been stolen. And not only that, in this damp weather, it doesn't do them any good anyway, as we discussed on one of the other earlier videos. The cold and the dampness of car boots, etc, can have a detrimental effect to your detector. So it's there's two things there that we need to you need to look at, people need to look at carefully about leaving detectors in boots of cars. So it's a shame it happens. Let's see if we can reduce the risk by getting the message out there to people to stop doing it. I've seen it on many forums and many Facebook pages and groups that people have said, oh, I've left my detector and I was lucky this morning, I come to my van and my detectors were still there, I forgot all about them. It is actually easy done, it slips people's minds, I can't criticise too much. But when you pay that sort of money out, protect it, folks. Gotta get them in that house. Don't put them in the shed, get them in that house safe, because there's always some vulture, some hyena out there at night, prowling the streets, checking car door handles or checking the windows. If they see anything worth stealing, they'll be in within seconds. These criminals now are that clever that they're actively out there looking all the time and checking cars for tools and other desirables that they can get their hands on. So so that's one part of this detecting talk. It's almost like brushing up on the earlier video that we did about it, but I think it's important that we get the message out there to people that this thing goes on. You know, these are both thefts are in different parts of the country. Two machines went in one night, and then another machine went up on the borders a couple of nights later. It's just a shame. It's just an absolute shame. So leaving that aside, everyone, we have had a sit down and a discussion in the Unearthed office about continuing our unearthed metal detecting digs, or our organised digs. I don't like calling them rallies. Organised digs seems to be a bit better, rolls off the tongue better. And we had, if you remember, we had a couple of undesirables sniffing around the permissions that we had for the digs, going on behind our backs, which happens. You know, we can't stop that unless we find out who it was. But you know, at that time we put them on hold. We haven't had a dig for some time now, but I think I've got my enthusiasm back for having organised digs. Not only is it a great way for me to say thank you to our customers, because we're selling a lot of detectors now at Unearthed. You know, it's not often I come on here and start promoting Unearthed and how much detectors we sell and what we sell and why you guys should shop with me and us at Unearthed. But I'm going to do a little bit of that now, because we're selling more and more detectors to people. Good, honest detecting people. Not just in the north, all around the country. We do 24-hour mail order. You know, our stock levels now are dwindling down because we're selling that much, so we're waiting for new stock to come in all the time, which is a bit of a headache. But our customer base is growing. So for us to do these organised digs, it's a great way of me saying thank you to everybody for being our customer. So we go out and find the land, productive land, for you guys to come and have a day detecting with us. What could be better? You've got a chance of finding some really good things. All our digs in the past, touch wood, and continue in the future, have always produced some really cool coins and artifacts, because we do the research. We do the research for the farms and the land where it's more than likely to produce bits and pieces for you to come on and detect with Unearthed for a day. So I think we're going to continue to do these digs and monitor them closely. We can handpick the people because they're our customers, so we know them, which is a great help. They're all like-minded folk. They all get on well. They all knit together perfectly. And we're going to hopefully continue to do these this year more. We're going to see if we can increase the amount of digs that we do. So instead of doing 5 or 6 or 4 or 5 a year, you know, we're going to see if we can stretch it to maybe 8 to 10 digs a year. Now this one that's coming up in March is going to be an interesting one, because we've been on it before, the same farm, and we've had some really good results. However, towards the end of the day things went a little bit quiet. There was 35 of us on the dig, and I suspected that some of the fields became a little bit worn out and tired. But I think going back with some of the new machines on the market now, we should, fingers crossed, be able to produce some more decent finds. So watch this space. There'll be a short film of that dig coming up in the next month. You know, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we do produce the goods on the day. And we'll obviously continue to do these digs throughout the year in different parts of the north. We can't run them down south like we used to, because we haven't got the land contacts anymore, and the logistics around organising digs in places like Lincolnshire and Norfolk or wherever, Yorkshire, it's just too much. It's too much travelling for people. The organisation, we live so far away, we can't just walk out of our front door and go and see the farmer and organise the thing. We've got to do it over the phone or drive down there and detect for a day and organise it. Then it's just difficult to do. It's just a bridge too far for us to organise. So they're predominantly going to be up here in the north, in Cumbria, Hadrian's Wall country, Carlisle, the borders, that sort of place, because that's where we're producing the goods. There may be some South Cumbria and into Lancashire, Yorkshire in the future, so watch this space. But any further afield, we're going to struggle, I think, which comes as a little bit of a disappointment to some people. But you can't please everybody. You've got to make sure you do the right thing for us and the detectorists up here, I guess. So that's that one put to bed. So yeah, watch this space. There should be some interesting things come up off that dig. There was last time, and I'm hoping there's going to be the same again. And if you looked at the last video, folks, we had a tribute to my friend, my very, very good friend Sean, who passed away sadly last week. Still very, very difficult for me to take personally. I've been extremely upset about it, and it probably will stick with me for some time. However, what happens is when someone close to you passes away, the good memories start flooding back. And I have to tell this story because it's a detecting related story about me and Sean when we were younger. And I think some of you guys will crack a wry smile when you hear it. And there's many, many stories out there of detecting related incidences and other things that went on. But this one in particular sticks out in my mind. We went away detecting in, it was early 90s, it's got to have been early 90s, I must have been 21, 22, and Sean was a little bit older than me, and we decided to hire a car, and 3 of us went down to a rally in Oxfordshire, a rather large rally, one of the biggest of the year at the time. I would say probably 500 or 600 people, probably more, were attending the event at that weekend. We got down on the Friday, later on in the afternoon, set our tents and everything up, and got ready for Saturday morning's detecting on this particular farm. And there was, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, you're rising out of your tents and there's people milling around all over the place. There's the sound of banter going on in the background, and you could hear detectors being turned on and tested. And this particular morning, we were actually parked on the car park, which was a field. They just converted a field into where you could park your cars, camper vans and tents. So the rally wasn't starting till maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock. We were up at 6, half 6, we'd had our breakfast, and we decided to do a little bit of detecting around the cars. Now there was everybody was crammed in, but there was spaces of land where you could go detecting. It was only small. You were talking a couple of 100 yards if you were lucky. And little strips of 50 yards where you could swing your detector around. And we were that keen in them days, we just wanted to detect. So Sean turned his metal detector on, and I turned mine on, and we used to detect it almost in tandem in them days. I know it sounds crazy, but our search coils almost used to touch. It's very rare I left his side, and it's very rare he left my side. Don't know why we did it, we just did. Who knows why. And we were detecting away, and almost at the same time we got a signal at the same time. So he's there with a signal under his search coil, good 2-way signal, and there's me just opposite him, a couple of yards away with the same good signal. I bent down to dig my signal at the same time as Sean bent down to dig his signal, opens the turf up. I looked in the hole, I glanced over at Sean, and Sean's picking out a coin out of the turf, and mine was a modern 1p, 1989 1p, copper 1p, modern 1p. I looked over in disbelief, and Sean's was the most exquisite Celtic Tascavanius VER type. We used to call them stators, but they were actually units, classed as units now. The most immaculate Celtic coin. I mean, that's on the car park. I mean, you just couldn't have a contrast in finds. And that's what Sean was like. He had the look of the gods sometimes. And that coin turned out to be, even though it's found on the car parking area, turned out to be the coin find of the rally. There was nothing else that was found on that weekend that touched that. There was a couple of Roman bronzes. I found a smattering of bronzes. I suspected that they were possibly in the hands of somebody else before I found mine, because they were in sort of little clutches. And that was the find of the weekend. He went back with the beam on his face because he was the first guy that had found a Celtic coin out of all of us, because up here in the north the Celts didn't have the coinage. So there's no Celtic stators or units found in Cumbria. Never has been, probably never will be. The nearest to us is probably Scotch Corner, where they've come up and down into Yorkshire. So that was a happy memory, it really was. And there's many, many stories like that I can tell people, and I will be telling people at the rally, I guess, in March, because we're going to, hopefully we're going to do the next dig in March in memory of Sean, and maybe raise a little bit of money for cancer care and the hospice. So yeah, it was that's always stuck out in my mind. But like I said, there's many stories like that. You know, he was just a one-off and a legend. So that's that lot put to bed. Lastly, we are increasing from this, where we are now, February, into March. We're going to be increasing our accessories and hopefully detectors on the Unearthed website. I know some of you guys are good customers of ours, and we thank you a lot for that. Very much appreciated. But you'll see from now on in a lot of the stuff that's on the website coming off and disappearing, with an emergence of new products coming along. So watch this space. There'll be some interesting accessories and detectors and other things coming up very soon, fingers crossed. We're just waiting for some products to arrive, which is frustrating for us and the customers. But I have to say, I'll take this opportunity to say this, you know, a heartwarming thanks to everybody that shops with us at Unearthed. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be doing what we were doing. We wouldn't have a roof over our heads, and we certainly wouldn't be doing sort of detecting talk films like this each week. So thank you very much. It is very much appreciated, and we will be doing a short film of the weekend if we're out detecting. The weather looks good now for the next week, so fingers crossed we can get out and about and do a bit of detecting. But that also means, with the weather being so good and the temperatures rising, that the farmers are probably going to be seeding up the plough. They're going to be flattening off the rough plough that's been left over winter and seeding up fairly quickly. So I mean, certain parts of the country will be different, but certainly the counties that I detect in will be pretty much seeded up quickly. So my advice to people is get out there and get on these fields before the seeds go in. If you're lucky enough that the farmers let you on when it's seeded, then you are blessed. We haven't got that kind of arrangement with some of our farmers. We can go on one or two, but a lot of them don't like us going on, understandably. So good luck if you're out this weekend detecting. We'll post up some of our finds that we make on the Instagram channel and on here. We'll do a little film of it, and all the best. Thank you very much for watching, and you guys take care. Bye for now.